Good evening. First of all, thank you for allowing me to be here this evening. Thank you all for coming out and being interested. I'm here tonight with my Chief of Staff in the Senate. I'm Senator Dan Brown from the 16th District, and my beautiful wife, Kathy. Anyone that knows Kathy knows I'm married way above my station in life. I am a practicing veterinarian. That's what I do in my real life. I tell people I served one term in the House of Representatives, and I've served 2 years in the Senate, going on my third. And it is an honor to represent folks of like mind. My district is a very conservative district. We're right in the middle of the state. It encompasses majority of it is in the 8th Congressional District. Part of it is in Blaine Lueckemeier's district. So I have a very conservative base. I, as I said, am still a practicing veterinarian. I meet a payroll every week. I have people that depend on me for their living. So my ability to do that is important. This is an extremely, and I'm very respectful of what the committee has to do. You know, and I tell people I serve God, family, country, and I think that tells you a lot about a candidate and how you act politically. And I think my man just said I've had enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Brown. Next, Jason Crowell.
Well, good evening. My name is Jason Crowell, and it's a pleasure to be here. First and foremost, the best thing I've got going for me is my wife, Casey, and she's in the back. If Casey, you could stand, let everyone know you're here. Thanks for being here, babe. What we have talked about this campaign is simply this. Stop spending, stop spending, stop spending. As much as anyone, and more than most, I've been criticized by the Post-Dispatch, the Kansas City Star, and even some of our local media for stopping spending. Some of you here tonight may even be a little bit upset with me because I've said no to some spending. But let me ask you this question. What would you do to secure the future of your children and grandchildren? Would you give it lip service? Would you tell them one thing and do another? Or would you stand and say no to Republicans and Democrats when necessary to secure the future for our country? Folks, nothing less is at stake. We cannot continue to borrow 40 cents of every dollar. If you want someone to stand in Washington, D.C., my name is Jason Crowell.
Thank you, Jason. Bob Parker, please.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Bob Parker. I live over in Texas County. On a farm over there for 35 years. I've been involved in production agriculture all my life. I'm not a career politician. I'm not an attorney. I'm somebody that's just worked my farm, taken care of my family, paid my taxes, contributed to my community, been active in my church, and I've sat and watched our government just go completely out of control. And I'm tired of it. I'm really tired of it. So I got involved several years ago on property rights issues, several issues where they want to register your farm in the NACE program. A lot of farmers know about that program. That's still going on, by the way. You still need people to fight that program. The National Park Service intruding in our area like never before. I thought the National Heritage Area was going to take over 13 counties by the National Park Service. I exposed that, led the fight to stop that. We got it stopped. Because I'm passionate about our freedom to use our land and run our businesses like we choose. And the government is just intruding into our lives in ways that are horrifying to all of us. I'm pro-gun, believe in the Second Amendment. I'm pro-life from conception to natural death. And I want to take our government back so we can have a say in what's going on and not the professionals. Thank you.
Bob Parker. Now Peter Kinder, please.
It's great to be back home. Welcome to all of you. 20 years ago, the voters, the good people of Southeast Missouri, sent me to Jefferson City as part of the then Republican minority in the Missouri Senate. And I looked around, I was the 13th Republican out of 34, and I went to work to try on a team building basis to turn that around. It was 8 long years, and we did turn it around. 12 years ago this month, I took the lead in the Senate. I cut the Senate budget 20% by laying off employees. I delivered on issue after conservative issue, the right to life, championing the first ban on partial birth abortion, putting it on Mel Carnahan's desk, and fighting his override, fighting to override his veto. I put the ball in the end zone for us on the Second Amendment, ladies and gentlemen, by delivering the right to carry over Bob Holden's veto 9 years ago this last September. I have returned money unspent. Every speaker will give you conservative rhetoric. The question is, have they walked the walk? I have returned money unspent out of my office budget allocation that I could have spent each of the 8 years I've been Lieutenant Governor. I have delivered for the conservative cause in Jefferson City, and I've done it in a uniting, team-building way, and that is the way I will fight for you if you honor me with the congressional nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. John Terrell.
Thank you. My name is John Terrell, and I brought this can to serve a purpose. If I was to kick this can, it'd be the last can you ever see me kick. And that is something that upsets me about Washington, is that they want to set something over to the next day, 2 months from now. Anybody knows what's going to happen in about 2 months? We're going to have the same fiscal cliff debate again about spending cuts. I'm a husband. My wife, Jamie Terrell, is actually Jamie Hanley from Poplar Bluff. And so east side of the state, I hear you. I may not be from here, but I married into you. Okay? You are people I do care about. I am an attorney. I have 2 children who I do care about. And that's why I'm in this race, because I love my children. And I am concerned about what's going to happen in the next 2 to 4 years where this country's heading on the spending track that we're on. Yes, that does sound rhetoric, but it is a concern that I do have. As an attorney, I've done 3 things. I was a prosecutor, and now I also do private counsel. And those 3 things are simply this. I fought for children, I fought for freedom, and I fought for money. Those are the things I fight for. Those are the things important to you. You want to stop the spending, you care about your children, and you care about your freedoms. We have a president who's willing to encroach upon our freedoms by issuing executive orders to take away our Second Amendment rights. If you want a fighter, I'm that fighter. I want to be your fighter.
Thank you, John. Lloyd Smith.
Good evening. My name is Lloyd Smith. Many of you know me because I worked for the Bill Emerson startup back in 1981. But I'm here today for a purpose: to get your vote, to ask you for your vote, and to explain to you why I think I can do the job. My wife of 40 years is in the back. She's a great support person for me. But the real reason I'm running are Trista, age 33, Sam, age 31, Tiffany, age 27. Those are my 3 kids. My dad was a World War II veteran. He fought at the Battle of the Bulge. Not until after he was dead did I know he had received both the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star. My father gave me this country in a better shape than his dad gave it to him. I am now responsible, as all of we are, to turn this country over in better shape. We cannot do that spending the kind of money we're spending. We're $16 trillion in debt, and by Obama's own numbers, we'll be $26 trillion in debt in the next 10 years. That's 40,000 for every man, woman, and child in this country. That's over 200,000 for a family of 4. I need your support. I hope I can earn it. And at the same time, I want you to pray, not just for me or not for all of these candidates, but pray for our country. We need prayer. It's not me, oh Lord, it's our country that needs prayer.
Thank you, Lloyd. Sarah Steelman.
Hi, I'm Sarah Steelman, and I live up in Rolla, and I'm here with my youngest son, Michael. I have 2 other sons, by the way, who are older, graduated from college. And most of y'all probably know me because I just ran for U.S. Senate in a primary. And probably are thinking, why in the world would you do this again? Why would you do this to yourself? Well, here's why. It's because I love my country, and I'm very worried about the direction that we're headed. And we need people in Washington, D.C. who are willing to stand up and fight hard for what we believe in to save our country. We need people who have been tested under fire. And I have been tested under fire. I served for 6 years in the state Senate, and I served as your state treasurer for 4 years. In the state Senate, I fought wasteful spending. I stood stood up and filibustered a bill when they wanted to spend money on a baseball stadium, and I killed it. I stood up against legislative pensions, and I tried to kill those too. As state treasurer, I started the first terror-free fund in the country. And what does that mean? That means that I looked around and I decided that we should not be investing money, taxpayer dollars and money, in companies that do business with terrorist sponsoring states. And I was the first one in the country to do that over people's objections. So I've been tested under fire. I know how to do it, and I appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Sarah. Wendell Bailey.
This is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to introduce Jane and Jill and Joanne, the J girls in the Bailey bunch, and they're in the back of the room. They travel with me and help us in a lot of different ways. It's also going to be different because I'm the most qualified candidate for the United States Congress because I've been there. I was the 8th Congressional District in the Ronald Reagan years when the Reagan Revolution cut taxes and cut spending. Now, it's not so difficult. You can do that. We just need to do that today in Washington, D.C. I passed legislation regarding the Paddy Creek wilderness and said that's enough wilderness in the state of Missouri. So I'm better qualified. But that's not what I want you to talk about tonight. I only want to run for the remainder of Joanne Emerson's term, and then I will not be a candidate for re-election. And then 1 year later, we will have a level playing field primary where the people of the state of Missouri will get an opportunity to pick the congressperson that they want. I think if this committee will vote for Wendell Bailey now, we'll have a plan in place that's good for the Missouri Republican Party. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Wendell. Jason Smith.
Good evening. I am Jason Smith, your fellow neighbor just west of here. If you take Highway 72, I live in the hills of Dent County. I'm seeking your nomination for the Republican nomination for Congress. If you're content with what's going on in Washington, D.C., look somewhere else. I'm not your candidate. But if you want someone with a new direction, with a fresh approach, and bold ideas, I'm your candidate. I'm running for Congress because I'm sick and tired, just like John said, of Congress kicking the can down the road. They're not genuinely addressing the problems at hand. In the Missouri House for the past 7 years, I have fought every year to balance the budget. I have fought to reduce wasteful spending. I have fought to help stop Obamacare from being implemented in the state of Missouri. I have fought to eliminate burdensome regulations that cause an undue burden on family farmers and small business owners. I have fought for an open and transparent government. These are the same things that we need to do in Washington, D.C. I've had the experience in the Missouri House. I have stood up to liberals. I have stood up to people in my own party and big money special interests when they're violating our conservative principles. That is not a problem that I'm afraid to do. I'm the 4th generation owner of the family farm. I'm a lawyer by training, but I'm a farmer by raising. That is a big difference. I am a small business owner. I know what it's like to balance a budget, live within your means, and actually sign the front of a paycheck. Thank you. I look forward to the questions.
Thank you, Jason. Clint Tracy next.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Clint Tracy. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about my boot collection. Growing up in Cape Girardeau County, my family was in the raised cattle and was in the timber business. So I got my first pair of boots at a very young age. In 1992, Congressman Bill Emerson appointed me to attend the United States Naval Academy. There I was issued my first pair of combat boots, and I took them with me on active duty. 6 years later, my wife Gary and I decided it was time to move home, and so we did. I dusted off my work boots and I went to work in my family's wood business. In 2007, I was recalled to active duty in Baghdad, Iraq. There I was issued a new pair of combat boots, and I wore them every day for the better part of a year. Near the end of my tour, the state representative resigned, and so I returned home and ran for the Missouri House, served in the Missouri House. Currently, I'm the presiding commissioner in Cape Girardeau County. Hopefully you would agree that my boot collection has prepared me for the challenge of federal office. if you decide to send me to Washington, D.C., I'm prepared to take my wading boots to cut spending and eliminate our debt before we all drown. I feel I have a moral obligation to my boys, Teddy and Ollie, and your kids and your grandkids, to turn over to them an America that's in better condition than it is today, no matter what pair of boots I have to wear. Thank you.
Thank you, Clint. Todd Richardson.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Todd Richardson. I'm from Poplar Bluff. My beautiful wife Amber is here with me tonight. And let me say at the outset that it's an honor for me to be considered along with the rest of the fine men and women here tonight. I have a deep amount of respect for each of them. Many of you have asked me, what sets you apart from the other good candidates in the race? And it's a question I've spent a lot of time thinking about. I think the answer lies in my motivation for seeking this position. My motivation is my 4-year-old son, Sawyer. More than anything else, I want my son to grow up in a country that has the same opportunity that I had. I want Sawyer to grow up in a country that values work more than welfare. I want him to grow up in a country that values opportunity more than opportunism. And I want him to grow up in a country that values faith in God more than dependency in an ever-expanding federal government. If Washington stays on its current course, that won't be the case. We have been replacing the hallmarks of America, those of faith, freedom, free markets, with debt and dependency. As big as our challenges are, I believe we have the capacity to solve them. I'm asking for your nomination and your support to be a part of that solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. And Wayne Wallingford.
Well, thank you for having us tonight. I'm joined here by my wife of 44 years, Susie. Both of my children and my 6 grandchildren live here in Cape Girardeau, and that's one of the reasons I'm seeking this office for them. The future of our country lies on our children and our grandchildren. I'm no stranger to public service. Spent 25 years in the United States Air Force upholding the Constitution and defending your rights and freedoms around the world. I've spent 9 years on foreign soil doing that. I've served in the Missouri House of Representatives. Now I currently serve in the Missouri Senate. Folks, let me tell you, the stakes are higher than you probably imagine. Every aspect of your day-to-day lives will not be left unchanged. The federal government is taking away your rights one by one in the name of protecting you. We're a strong global military country with a lot of influence around the world, but the liberals are trying to destroy free market principles and make us a weak country. I run on platforms very similar to the gentleman here. I have been rated by the American Conservative Union a 100% conservative voting record. I'm proud of that record. I'm proud of the service to my country. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.